Hello, brethren, and thank you for joining us at Branches of Yah. For all those that are seeking, for all those that are looking, for all those that want to know some truth in a time filled with nothing but lies, where everyone is lying and everyone is telling you what they want you to hear, and they're giving you what you think you want as opposed to what you need. And the word isn't going to puff you up, it's going to build you up. So today, because a gentleman by name of Miguel, he goes by Angel or Angel, and he's over on a channel called Another Saint, had asked me to do a little look-see into the word study. So I told him I would look into it, and I won't say this is the deepest dive, but what I found is quite profound and wonderful as it is. So I want to do that for him. And if you would, go over there and visit his channel. A lot of times he's just reading scripture. Give him a little support, a little nudge, let him know he's not alone. And I suggest you do that with everyone out there. Anyone that's out there that's looking and searching and seeking truth in a time of lies, please do so. So hello, brethren, and welcome. Let's get right into it. Now, let me go ahead and leave here, brethren, as you don't need me here for this. Okay, so I'm not going deep into that study to show yourself approved, but it's funny, the wordplay, even in that verse, in its original Hebrew that it would have been written in, we would see study to show yourself approved would have been kind of ra'ah and ra'ah. But in that verse, it has been changed over time to do your best to try to show yourself working diligently towards a goal, to try hard. Those are the kind of things. It's been watered down considerably. But we're going to look at the most common use for the word study. And oftentimes it's used in a place where you might think it was to spy out. And that fits, but it also isn't the whole story. So let's dig into ra'ah, or study, or spy out, and see what we get out of it, because there's some work involved, and a lot of it is the work that we do from within. So we're going to see in Strong's H7200 the word ra'ah. Now it's a primitive root, and it means to see. The pictographs, or aresh, now these are spelt for phonetic pronunciation, and an aleph and a hey. So the resh, as you see, is the head of a man, thus the head or the top or the beginning or the first. Now, again, these aren't the entire definitions of these letters. This is just a basic overview, but I think we get a lot out of it. So I think to study to show yourself approved, you want to go look at these letters for yourself and get the deeper, much deeper meaning and the fullness of that meaning. And you're going to find it, wow, it'll blow your mind, because it does not tell me to study to show you approved. It tells me to study to show myself approved. Each person out there must go to the word. It's great to find somebody like myself and many others out there that are teaching you. But the greatest thing that you could possibly do is take what they've done and go in and verify it for yourself and then build upon it. Too many people are allowing others to do all their studying for them, and then they're just copying and pasting it and going along with it without actually looking in to see if that person did their due diligence to study. So they're not studying to show themselves approved. They're allowing somebody else to do all the work. And when you put all your trust in man, oftentimes you find you might be misled. So I encourage you, brethren, because Yah wants us. It says that he hides a matter, okay? It says that it is an honor for him. It is to his esteem. He is greatly esteemed when he hides it and you seek it out. He does hide things. He hides things in his words. He hides things in his letter. And guess what he hides? Something that if you look, you find. It's not hidden to where you can't find it. he doesn't make everything easy on us. He told us that he would try us. He says, if I love you, I'll chastise you, because that's what he does to his children whom he loves. He chastises them so that they build and grow from their mistakes and don't make the same mistakes again. So we see that just because you can't see it right on the top, that it's hidden, that you have to study to find that meaning, because each word is going to reveal not only his character, but he's going to reveal something about your character to you. And it's fantastic when you start to find out that stop looking for somebody else to lead you and guide you and teach you. Pull from what they have. If there are teachers that have been raised up around you, pull from what they've given you and be built up and strengthened. Don't let somebody guide your opinion on anything. And that's just true in life. We see that right now with what's going on. I'm not going to get into politics here, but we see that they are guiding us into hating people for what they say is going on. They have always done this. The brethren are as divided as ever amongst each other about the dumbest of things of the flesh. And I'll hit that when I do a little presentation on Lot's wife and not looking back and what that really signifies to us. But I'm telling you, brethren, when we look at every situation in life, it says, what man enters into a project of any kind, endeavors to do anything without studying the cost. So we're going to see that throughout Scripture, that studying the cost, looking at something, is going to mean quite a bit to you in your life in general, but especially in a loving, obedient relationship to a Creator who knitted you in your mother's womb and knows every hair upon your head. He knows you better than you know yourself. And he wants to impart his wisdom, his understanding, and mostly his heart, his loving heart to each and every one of us. So let's go back into this. Resh, the head of the man, thus the head or first or top or the beginning. Aleph, the ox head, thus it's signifying strength and power and a leader. And Hey, we all know, that's a man with upraised arms. Thus, look, or to reveal, to wonder, to worship, and to breathe. It is not just to see or just to look. It is really to behold. So here we see, this is a simple definition. Please go in there, look at all the definitions. And you've seen some of mine where I get more complex with this, but it is the one who has the power to behold. It is not just talking about the one like his Yah and the one and only Most High. It is talking about us, those of us who have the power to behold, and he has given it to us through Mashiach. So each and every one of us has the ability through the Ruach HaKodesh to behold and take sight of what he's saying. And that is sight, to see, including seeing visions and revelations. And it's a deep introspective, a study of oneself and one's circumstances. So be aware of what is going on within you and your own heart. Weigh yourself. We are to be looking within ourselves constantly. You don't want Yah to be the one doing it. He says we're supposed to be being introspective. We're the ones who are supposed to be judging ourselves to be sure that we're walking in his way and not in ours. Too many people want the easy way. And they say, Yah wouldn't make it complicated. Well, that's the exact opposite of what he said he would make it. He said he would make it complicated because it's a trial. That's the fire that refines us. So he does. He does hide a matter. He hides things. He wants a mystery in our life. He wants him to be a mystery that we can solve, that we can come together and know. Your relationship with him on this particular matter is a deeply personal one, but then he wants us together. It's built into his Moedim to gather, not just his days and times and seasons. It is a gathering. It is a Kodesh Mikra, because he wants us to take that growth that we have and come together, that each of us have a piece of that puzzle, each of us building one another up to be equal to one another, that we might come together as a collective, a loving body unto him. And that's what he wants from us. So it is the one who has the power to behold, the sight to see, including visions and revelations, a deep introspective, a study, seeing in the Ruach, a knowing and an understanding to discern with thought, to present yourself, work to make yourself seen. Work. We are to present ourselves worthy. We are to work to make ourselves seen. How are we seen? By Elohim, with our loving obedience, and by doing our Shema. So we see Ra'ah. We see that we are to study, to present ourselves, to make ourselves seen before Yah, because he looks at our hearts to see if it is within us to see with our spiritual sight. So many times the Messiah says, though they have eyes, they cannot see, and they have ears, they cannot hear. So many times we find that our seeing is beyond what is just in front of us. We see that now in the world, in the secular world that is tearing itself apart. And of course it is, because it has utterly broken all the binds and everything, every string that was attached to the character of Yah is being snapped and broken on purpose. Don't give up. Study. Study to show yourself approved. Be introspective. Look upon your heart and your beliefs and your understandings of things. Challenge them against the word. Get to know the character of Yah and his love for you. And we'll see the word yara is also tied to that word. Now, this is the verb, and it describes the process, but rather from the perspective of receiving soil, to revere, to pay heed to, and in extreme cases, to fear. So Ra'ah and Yara are actually intrinsically linked. And we see that Ra'ah and Yara are related in YHUH, or in 1 Malachim, or Kings 19:3, translated as saw. We can see the relationship in the Resh plus the Aleph. Now, this study really starts within. Study and challenge ourselves. Reveal that worship that is within us when we do this. We reveal that the power, the head of the man is the Messiah, and the head of the Messiah is the Father. And when we study this relationship, we just see ourselves in them and they in us. That's what studying reveals to us, a deep knowledge of his love and his word and his letters and the mysteries. And as it reveals that, you just fall in love. You fall in love with his word. You fall in love with him. You fall in love with the Messiah all over again. And when we do that, we see our brethren, we fall in love with them because they too are searching and seeking. It's hard not to love somebody who says they love Yah. It's hard not to love them when they're really searching and seeking, when they're true seekers, not the ones that are breaking and dividing the body, but the ones that are really seeking and looking to know more about the Father and his Son. So we're going to go into a little, this is some of the wordplay that they use with Ra'ah. Now, consider adversity. This is Ra'ah, Ra'ah. They sound the same, spelt a little different. You have the Resh Aleph He and the Resh Ayin He. Now, there's similarities between them, but you'll see a lot of wordplay if you study. So let's read a little bit about that. It says, do you sense in your Ruach in 2022 that it's going to be a rough one for many believers? I do. However, we need to consider the message from King Shlomo, again, spelled for pronunciation, aka Solomon. And that's for this coming year. Consider adversity. Now in Ecclesiastes 7:14, in the day of prosperity be joyful, but in the day of adversity consider Elohim also has set the one over and against the other to the end of man, that he should not find nothing after him. You'll not see this in the English translation. None of the scriptures with the English translation. And you'll not likely read about it in any major commentaries. Only in the Hebrew can you see this subtle little wordplay. But the implications of this wordplay teach a very important lesson. This was written by the wisest and possibly the smartest man who ever lived, King Shlomo. So it's not surprising we have such a clever play on words. It is believed in some literature that Shlomo wrote this in his old age. So he not only had the wisdom of Elohim, but the wisdom of years of experience. And what he is saying in Ecclesiastes 7:14 is that during the day of prosperity, enjoy it, soak it up for all it's worth. But you will have your down days, and when the bad days come, consider. What do you consider? You consider that Elohim also sent the days of adversity. They work and word are hand in hand in the days of prosperity. The reason for Elohim sending adversity is not that you will realize that Elohim is in complete control and that you need to live your life in the way the Creator meant for you to live it. It's a great lesson. But Shlomo in his wisdom buried something even more in this verse. The word prosperity is tobah. That is the word tob with a feminine ending. Although this is grammatically correct to use a feminine ending, why did Shlomo write this grammatical demand a feminine ending? For one thing, the word secure or upright, tob, means to be in harmony with Elohim. With a feminine ending, it would mean to be in harmony with the mothering nature of Elohim. Again, that's in his word. His loving, caring, compassionate, merciful, and nurturing nature. The word for joyful is also the word tob. It's batob, to be exact, or in harmony. Why does he repeat the word tob? Why not use abar or simka or barauk? All words for joyful. Why the word right, pleasing, secure, or security? Tob. Well, let's translate it that way. In times of security, be secure. Or when there is harmony with Elohim's loving, caring, compassionate, and nurturing nature, then live in a loving, caring, and compassionate way. Now we find even another wordplay. In the day of adversity, consider. The word for adversity is ra'ah, and the word for consider is ra'ah. However, the first ra'ah is spelled resh ayin he, and the second ra'ah is spelled resh aleph he. Both sound exactly alike. Only someone whose native language is Hebrew, not me, would be able to detect the slight subtle difference in sound. And again, why use two words that are so similar? There are many other words in Hebrew that could express the idea of adversity. The only reason I can see is to us such similar words is to make a play on these words. The word for adversity is an odd one. It can mean evil and trouble, but it also can mean a shepherd or friend. The word ra'ah, with the aleph in your standard word for seeing, looking, observing, studying, examining, and considering. Hence, I believe the wordplay here is that Shlomo is saying that in times of trouble, examine and study that trouble or the adversity. The ra'ah with the ayin is your word for adversity. The ayin is telling you to have some insight. For you see, ra'ah with the ayin can mean evil or adversity, but can also mean a friend. You may find your adversity is really a friend. Thus, when you are in harmony with Elohim, treat others and live a life like one who is in harmony with Elohim. Show the mothering characteristics of Elohim, his love, his compassion, his care, his nurturing. When Elohim brings you into ra'ah with the ayin, adversity, and it is from Elohim, then stop and consider ra'ah. And the fact that this adversity, when it comes from Elohim, can also mean it is a friend. For those who have never heard the story of David Roever, During the Vietnam War, David Roever was a member of the Swift Boats, and now it's a very elite group of trained by the Navy SEALs, and they also suffered a very high casualty rate. At one point during the battle, David attempted to throw a phosphorus grenade when a bullet pierced his hand and ignited the grenade, setting him on fire. He suffered massive burns over his body and face. He miraculously survived, but he was permanently disfigured. This happened over 45 years ago. He spent his life facing the stares and comments of people, and he prayed intensely that Elohim would remove his scars. He had had many people pray for him and honestly, truly believed Elohim would remove his scars, so he'd have a great testimony of healing. Instead, Elohim had chosen to let him live with his scars. Sounds like the same thing he told Shaul. My mercy is enough for you. Amazing. And as David said, Elohim didn't do this to me. Be that as it may, Elohim did use this opportunity to open doors for David, where doors would have never been opened had he been healed. He had spent his last 45 years speaking about Elohim and leading people to a saving knowledge of YHUH in places others could never hope to enter. And this includes public schools, athletic events, and veteran meetings, hospitals, and government organizations. Let me break here and tell you that David is a Christian. And although we came out of Christianity, they have to start somewhere. You have to start believing in something beyond yourself. You have to start believing that there is a loving creator. We start there. And as we start there and our heart starts to change, he introduces himself and he shakes his hand through his word and through his ruach. So each and every one of us has that testimony, how he didn't leave us where we were. But as we sought him and we studied him, we found him because he's knocking. So, however, David said that it was not until he was in his 30s, many years after his injury, that he could actually thank Elohim for his scars. And once he fully realized the gift Elohim gave him, realizing the countless lives of teenagers and adults had been changed because of his scars, he was truly grateful for the privilege to serve Elohim in such a special capacity. I cannot think of a better illustration of Shalomo's wordplay on Ra'ah. Consider your adversity, for it may very well be your friend. Isn't it fantastic? It is a beautiful thing.
Let us consider Ra'ah. Let us study Ra'ah. Let us see what Yah has given to us. Let us walk in his light and his love. Let us study his word and his mysteries. But with ahava, with ahab, love. It is our loving obedience when we study his word that we find that he is a true friend. He's always been a true friend to us. It is us that have trouble being friends. And again, in these times, when people are afraid of everything, because that boob tube that has programmed everybody's mind to believe this and that about themselves. I will say this, and I always say it, that let every man be a liar, but the word, the Torah, his right rulings and his judgments, that is the truth. His word is the truth, and every man can be a liar. So take that into account when we look at even the history, even the new revisionist history that's coming out. Somebody's guiding that. If it's in love, and if it's leading back to his word, and studying his word, and seeking out his mysteries, if it's looking for the things that are hard or difficult, or cause us some consideration of what's going on, he wants it that way. He does that. He hides it in his word, hides it in his letters, and then the reveal is so fantastic, because when you do come out of whatever religious and traditions that we all believe in, or did believe in, when you come out of that, you find he has a name, he has a son, and they are brimming with love for each and every one of us. You will consider the adversity as a friend, because when you know he's trying you, and you know he's refining you, and you know you're his, if he's not refining you, if he's not trying you, and if you're not coming out of it cleaner than when you went in, study to show yourself approved. You'll find it. Well, brethren, I pray if this was somewhat of an uplifting look at the word study, to look introspectively, to see with your physical eyes, to see with your spiritual eyes, to consider everything, to truly look at what his words say, and look at him, and look at yourself. Lay aside what you think you know, because somebody taught something that agreed with something you already believed. And look at Yah. We love you, and we want you here as a family, but more than here, we want you as a family in forever. We want each and every one of us to share the love of Elohim forever and ever, worshiping at his feet, by the side of our brother and our Mashiach, his Mashiach. That's what we want to see, each and every one of you. We want each and every one of us. Let us study and love Elohim with all our heart, soul, strength, mind, and all our being, and all that is within us. Again, we'll see you next time, guys. Thank you so much.